This is Porter Park, a small park in North Corvallis. And this is mostly a neighborhood park. Not a lot of features here, but one thing it does have that other neighborhood parks don't always have is we do have water. We have Dixon Creek here in a somewhat natural state. So that's the main thing I'm going to check out, because otherwise we just have a baseball diamond and a path and a field. But the creek is kind of unique, so I'm going to go check out the creek in a second. Like I've said before a couple times lately, including when I was at the Irish Bend Covered Bridge, it's late in the season and the water is very low. So right now the creek is just a trickle. And this creek is really only a couple linear miles from where it rises in the hills west of town to where it reaches the Willamette. So it's just going off of groundwater. And pretty soon it will be a lot higher, and where I'm walking now will be covered by water, but for now it's a very placid creek on a very calm day at the beginning of autumn. And the trees along the creek are pretty natural. Here we have alder, very common riparian tree. Over there we have Oregon ash, very common riparian tree, and in other areas. There we have a hawthorn. This one's growing a little bit bigger, so it's not just an understory plant. So the trees here are pretty natural. But then along the banks you can see things like ivy, English ivy most likely, very invasive. So obviously, you know, this park that's just a corridor of land in a residential neighborhood, there you can see a fence over there, doesn't really have a full natural biome. But it might be more active than we can see right now. Right now it's the end of the summer season. The rains only started a couple days ago. It's very still. But at night, like, I might come down here and there might, you know, be raccoons moving around and stuff like that. But for now I don't see any animals. I just hear a few birds. I've even seen beaver sign here. So, you know, this looks like just a little creek that's just a corridor in a residential neighborhood with invasives, that type of thing. But there could be a lot going on here if you have the time to look. So Corvallis has a lot of parks, and they've run the spectrum from, we saw Little Fields Park, which is tiny, to we've seen the larger nature parks all the way up to Dimple Hill, which isn't really a city park, but still pretty close to the city. And this is kind of in the middle, because right here we just have a field, you know, just a little piece of nature, but then just in this little strip of land along the creek, you know, in the middle of this residential neighborhood, you can get a little dose of nature. So that's yet another one of Corvallis's parks. Maybe I will actually get around to doing all of them.